At the very beginning of this week's Parshat, we learned 3 consecutive laws. The first tells us that with certain caveats, a Jewish soldier is allowed to marry a beautiful non-Jewish woman taken as a captive in war. The second law prohibits a man with 2 wives, one whom he likes and one whom he doesn't, from favoring the firstborn son of the beloved wife over the older firstborn son of the wife whom he doesn't like. And the third law involves the wayward, rebellious son. The commentators explain that the reason we have those laws back to back to back is that 1 leads to 2, which leads to 3. If the Jewish soldier marries a beautiful captive, he'll end up with a wife that he really doesn't like, and then he'll end up with a rebellious son. Which begs the question, if there's going to be such a disastrous outcome, why does the Torah allow it? Why not prohibit the soldier from marrying the captive? And the answer, perhaps, is that the Torah is teaching us, God's telling us, that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. There's a similar example in the Talmud. A person does a particular action and it goes through, it works. But the Talmud tells us that he acted like a ramai, like a trickster. That's the way that Lavan is described. Lavan, Yaakov's father-in-law, who switched brides on Yaakov on the wedding day. That's horrible. Why in the world would the Torah allow somebody to act like Lavan, like a trickster? And the answer again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Rabbis so often are boxed in. We ask them questions, and all we want to know is yes or no. Am I allowed or not? I'm not asking for advice. I'm not asking for what I should do. I just want to know, is it allowed or not? I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was playing in a football league, not a Jewish league. There was a game scheduled on the eve of Yom Kippur. So I asked my rabbi, am I allowed to play in the game? He said, if you're asking me, are you allowed? Under Jewish law, absolutely. There is no prohibition that says thou shalt not play football on Erev Yom Kippur. However, he continued, before I could hang up the phone, if you're asking me, should you play? That's a trickier question. I personally think that where you are currently in life, if you have an extra hour or 2 available on Erev Yom Kippur, there are probably better uses of your time. So I didn't play. And for me, that was a pretty big deal. Not as big a deal as Sandy Koufax not pitching in the World Series on Yom Kippur, but a big deal nonetheless. But still, there's the lingering question, as a friend once posed it to me. Why does it have to be so complicated? Why can't God just make it clear? Do this, don't do that. That's allowed, that's not. Why do you have these gray areas? Well, it's allowed, but you shouldn't. And the answer is that God wants to give us an opportunity to mature in our relationship with Him. Little kids only understand yes or no. Yes, you can have that lollipop, or no, you can't. As kids get older, more mature, you can say something like, I think it's beneath you. They can understand that. That same question that I asked about playing football on Erev Yom Kippur might have been a different answer when I was 15. Absolutely, no prohibition, go ahead. Maybe a different answer at 25. But at 35, already married with kids and really working on myself, it was a different answer. We need room to grow, we need room to mature. And there's a really good time of year to take stock. Think about the actions, even the ones that are allowed. Still, even though it's allowed, should we be doing them?